And it was a secret. How many of you knew, not me, that when the Cuban doctors and nurses came here and do the kind of job they were doing, we were not paying them. They were being paid through the Cuban government, and they were not getting what we were paying them, like how we pay all doctors and nurses here. But the Cuban government held on to up to half, if not more, of their monies, what their labor had earned them. We are now learning that their movement in Jamaica was restricted. Their passports were being held on to. Yeah, they could not form certain social relationships here in Jamaica. They were, and I think the word used by George this morning was most appropriate, they were in servitude. That cannot be right.
There's a deserve, Johnny.
That cannot be right. And there are now many questions for the Jamaican government to answer. When did we know that this was the arrangement that the Cuban doctors and nurses and personnel were being subjected to? When did we know that? And what did we do?
Tap up the
According
screen,
to the
people. Tap up the
Jamaican
screen.
Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, the Jamaican government only became aware of this recently, and that became a sticking point, which ultimately led to the Cuban government refusing to alter the payment arrangements, which
Blessed Paul.
led to the collapse and termination of the program. Is that so? Well, I've been trying to get the Minister of Foreign Affairs, and, I hope to be able to have a word with her. But when did we find this out? When did we find out that, listen, when we pay the Cubans, the money go to the Cuban government take what they want and give, according to this report, coming from this human rights organization, Cuba Archive. And let me tell you, I read that report and I was very wary while I was reading it, because we know a lot of politics is mixed up in this. So I'm not going to tell you I'm taking this report hook, line, and sinker. But the government of Jamaica must now come and tell us whether the basic thesis of that 44-page report by Cuba Archive, whether it's rubbish or not. Is it a fact?
Comrade Blair, I would love to talk to you, Comrade Blair, if you have some time.
Here, do not get up to, if not more than 50% of their wages. They are allowed to retain only $200. How could that be?
Hey, Chuck.
To have
What's up?
an agency
Morning.
over there.
Morning, Comrade Blair. As one of the original way back comrade, and I said earlier that I did not know of the intricacies of this arrangement, and I am sure you didn't either. I am sure most of us never know say the arrangement was like this, right?
Well, I have no idea of the arrangement which Nationwide is speaking to.
But
I
did you
know
read
that,
did you read the minister's letter that was made public?
No, I did not get around to.
Well, you should read it.
The second part, I read the first part of the minister's letter where she said, well, them couldn't agree.
And
Yes.
what they couldn't agree on was direct payment to the doctors, and the doctors being able to retain their own travel document to dictate free movement.
Yeah, but there is something which I am not clear on.
What's that?
And when Rubio came here the first time and spoke to the Prime Minister in regard to the same issue, the Prime Minister said that and I wish you would play the tape when the Prime Minister spoke after the meeting with Rubio, when he said that the arrangement with the Cubans and Jamaica conform to the labor law as it stipulates in Jamaica. But listening to nationwide broadcast now, what he just broadcast, even though he put it in bracket to say that he cannot verify the information presented.
No, he said he was reading from a website named the Cuba Archive.
Yeah, right.
So he
Yeah,
said,
right,
you know, the politics involved. So he said, me nah go 100% go with it.
Exactly. So putting the two arguments together, I'm still not clear, because I would expect when the Prime Minister spoke on the issue and said that the arrangement is based on Jamaican's law, then that would be credible information.
But let me ask this. Take the politics out of it. Take what the Prime Minister said out of it. But if these indeed are the facts, that the persons are not paid directly, they are not able to retain more than 200 US of their salary, they are not able to keep their own travel documents, would you then support it if that is the condition and the Cuban were unwilling to change? Would you then support the termination of the project, of the program?
Well, I am not one who support people working in bondage. I don't like bondage, because I myself, I don't want to find myself in bondage. Because one day in bondage, you know, can hit your brain.
Yes.
But just months and years. You understand? So the termination of the project, I would have preferred if the Prime Minister and the government of Jamaica would have accept the route which Guyana.
Yeah, but based on the minister's letter, that those offers, that's what they have been waiting for the Cuban to agree to over a year. For 1 year, that new position was put to them, said just sign to these agreements and we can move on, and they refuse. So what is it?
Right.
What do you think it is about? What do you think it is about Jamaica that they would alter the agreement for other Caribbean countries, but they would stick out against Jamaica? So we now alter it for UNO. Why?
Well, I really can't explain that one, Chuck. Because I would think that anything apply for one Caribbean country would
apply
applicable
for
to the
others.
whole Caribbean.
But
because we are one, and Jamaica is the first country who would have benefited from the program. Right? So I don't know.
You did not answer my question, Selena. I asked you, under the circumstances, with what we know coming out now, do you support the termination of the program?
The termination of the program based on what is coming out now, even though I have not read the minister's letter, I am just hearing what is being said on nationwide.
Well, I think you should read it.
But if I should go by what I'm hearing on nationwide, if it is factual, then I would have no problem. Now I would not have no problem.
But that's how I asked the question. That if everything we are hearing is true, because we, as we say, we have not seen the agreement. This agreement was signed 50 years ago, 1976. 50 years ago.
1976, yeah.
Yeah. We have not seen it. But if these are indeed the facts of it, would you then support the term? Because remember, it was also terminated in the 80s under Seaga. Seaga had terminated it. I am not sure if these were the reasons, but it was terminated back in the 80s.
I think back in the 80s, it was geopolitics. I don't
It was
think it had
geopolitics.
anything
But
to
right today,
geopolitics.
it
I
is
don't think it. Yeah.
let's not be stupid. It is geopolitics today, same way.
Exactly, it's geopolitics.
Geopolitics today, same way. But
Yeah.
what I'm saying now, if these reasons, if these circumstances stands that the doctors are not paid directly, they are not able to spend their own money, they are not able to keep their own travel document, they have no freedom of movement. They cannot form relationships while they're in Jamaica. Under these circumstances, do you support the termination?
If all of what you have said and what is being reported, even though has not been verified,
but
then I would have no problem terminating the agreement.
Again, so you hear me. If everything we are hearing is true, remember, I not tell you say it's true, Come, you and I have not seen the agreement. But if all these things are true, do you support the termination of the program?
Well, if I'm but our conjunctions, but if as you have said, it is so, then I would have no problem terminating the contract either.
All right, sir.
Because the benefit would not rebound to the person who actually do the work.
Right.
You understand? Yeah. But my understanding though, because I am doing some research, is that the doctors and the nurses are paid, and teachers are, and those who do repairs are medical equipment, and so are paid 60% of their salary in Jamaica, and 40% is repatriated to the Cuban government. And at the end of the program, when they return, that 40% is returned to them. That is one of the.
Which part to find that information?
Well, that is not an information which you would find documented. It was just having discussion with persons who is very close to Cuban medical personnel.
Because I was watching a video that was done by a Cuban medical professor, and they did not say anything like that.
I understand that. That's why there is ambiguity in the numbers and the direction of the contract. So we cannot stick to no one suggestion which is out there until we have the facts as it happens. And I would love the government to issue or to publish the contract so that we can have a better look at it.
I don't think it's gonna be published. It would make you can't publish. Okay, such a contract will never be published. You know that. Come on.
Okay, so there will continue to be a lot of speculation.
But here's the thing now. Here's what we know. One of the things that was in front the Cubans to agree to is that the doctors be paid directly. Why didn't they agree to that?
Well, and
that the doctors be able to hold on to their own travel documents? These are two simple things, They pay you directly and you hold on to your travel documents. Why were these a sticking point?
I really don't understand, and that leads me back to my first question when I said, why would such an agreement be signed with the government of Guyana and not with the government of Jamaica?
And yes, and I did ask the question too. Why is it that they were able to alter the agreement with Guyana and Barbados, but not Jamaica? And right. My only answer is who in Jamaica that agreement was made with.
Well, the contract from 1976 would have ended when diplomatic relationship with the government of Cuba ended in the 1980s.
Yes.
Right? And then it would have started back, I don't know if it started back in the 80s or in the 90s. And
in the 90s when Manley came back to power, diplomatic relations
it would have started back again. Right. So, but it bothers me, and it really bothers me that we could not sign a contract just like Trinidad and Guyana. So we want to know what would be the sticking point where that is
But
concerned.
that's what I say. You have to finish reading. The sticking points were direct payment to the doctors and that the doctors be allowed to hold their travel documents. Those were the sticking points.
And that was sent directly to the government of
It
Cuba.
was said they have been waiting for the Cuban government to sign it for nearly a year.
Okay.
And when the government of Jamaica stick to its gun, Cuba ordered their doctors to come back home. Jamaica did not send them home, you know. The Cuban government ordered them back home. So when you hear that Jamaica sent them home, that is not true. They were ordered back home.
Yeah. Okay.
But okay. Would any Jamaican agree to go overseas and work and even 20% of their salary be sent back to the Jamaican government?
I don't think we have to look at it, Chuck, in the capacity of the regime which is in Cuba. Jamaica have a democratic government.
No, but bear in mind that Jamaicans love to compare and say we feel live like Cuba. Especially
some Jamaican, Chuck.
Especially the PNP supporters.
Some Jamaican, not all PNP supporters. Not all PNP supporters neither.
But do you think any of those same persons would agree to going overseas and work and any percentage of their salary be sent back to the Jamaican government? I wouldn't agree to it, you know.
No, I would not agree to it either.
All if I live right in a poor, I not agree to it.
No, whatsoever I work, it must come to me. Yeah, whatever I work must come to me.
Right. So that is one of the sticking points to the government of Jamaica. And what another thing that I would love to know too is how often has this contract been reviewed? Because apparently it has not been reviewed since diplomatic relations were put back in place. I don't think it has ever been reviewed.
Well, I don't know, because what I understand is that the contract ended in 2023. That means to say it is not an open-ended contract. It is an open and closed, so it must have an expiry date for it to end in 2023.
All right, so what would like to know then? I'm going to research. When was the last time it ended? When was the last time it was renegotiated? Because it's hard to believe that that's the reason Cuba can afford doctors like this. Rowan, I don't know what you're trying to say, you know. But what I would like to know is when was it last reviewed, and who in these modern day would be a party to a contract like that?
I think the
contract if I may add something to the conversation.
One second, Chavi. I would think, Chuck, that the contract would be for the duration of each medical personnel coming. We like say a 5-year, 3-year contract.
No.
The duration of each personnel, because I think them revolve the personnel within a 3 to 5 years. It's not one set of persons
5
who
years.
come
Each of them come
continuous.
and spend 5 years and then go back and another 5 years come. But I don't think it is blessed Omar. I don't think it is signed on an individual program. It is signed on a general program where the government of Cuba sends some people, then spend 5 years and then we take them back and send some more. So I don't think it is
Exactly.
it is like that. Right? So I think that's it. But I'm gonna check and see when was the last time it was reviewed. But I don't see how anybody in this day and age, Paul, your background noisy. That's why you have to keep your mic muted when you're not speaking. The kids them in the background and make noise. So I don't see how.
And I mean, me not achieving. And I mean that. That's not me.
Me just hear squeaking in your background, man.
My grandkids are the Paul.
Are you
The Paul
on
Road.
you?
My
Alright,
grandkids.
me think I'm Paul. Sorry, Paul. Sorry, Paul.
That's good. That's good.
But I don't see where anybody in this day and age could actually sign that contract. It's contract is, to me, it is wickedness. And those of us now who claim say we love the Cuban people and we love our people, are we then gonna be selfish in supporting the exploitation of the Cuban people for our benefit? No. Chavi, where is it? Chavi.
Judge Davis was going through the report that morning everybody. So let me start with that.
Yeah, good
My
morning.
bad. Morning.
Yes, sir. You never try to find George Davis and play.
George Davis play his own. You would have heard George Davis reading out the interview, the investigative report, and the interviews done by the investigators of doctors who were actually on mission in Jamaica that told you what the mission, how the mission works. I believe that will give us more context. There's a part of it
All
where
right,
one of the
let me
doctors says
find
that their
him
contract
now.
does not state certain things, but this is how it works.
All right, let me find him now
But
and so we can play some of it.
Chavi, you would realize that the CEO, Cliff Hughes, put a question sign to that interview also. So we have to listen it in that context with a question sign.
What Cliff Hughes did what Cliff Hughes was referring to something you read from a website, not to the interview with the doctors. He said he read it from a website called the Cuban Archive, and he said he could not verify it because we know how politics work.
Yeah.
So he was referring to that website in particular.
Chuck,
Right.
you know what to do good.
Chuck, and Chuck, hold on, Nepal. And Chuck, if we should listen to the actual Cuban people, like people who had run off to the United States and these places, they have been lamenting this for a long time.
Yes.
So I
this
don't
is not
understand
strange
why
news.
when the reports are coming and get it, everything we must take with us, a question mark, everything we must take with a grain of salt. But when there are local issues that there's no bearing or no proof to it, we don't take it with a grain of salt. 28 bank accounts, for example. Who took that with a grain of salt? Or the context to which it's in?
Let me tell you.
Hold on, let me just finish with Chavi. The Prime Minister said when Rubio was here that the contract with the Cuban people is based on the labor law in Jamaica. So you have to look into that context also.
And I'm
But
going to explain
me-
that to you
me-
because
remember-
hold on, Nepal, because you don't speak to
hold on.
nothing when me just say a while ago, but you come
Let
out and bring that.
Paul
Let me
go.
explain how that works then. Let me explain because that's very simple. It means we pay them at the same rate that we pay the Jamaican people. The problem is the money is not paid directly to them. That's the problem. Why we are play blind to this? They are paying the same amount of money, it's just not paid directly to them. That's where the problem comes in. Sorry, Paul.
Chavi that. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Paul, and then Mr. Go on, Paul.
No. What did I say earlier on that it would be nice to see if we could get and the original document that was signed off from 1976 by the leadership of the government at the time. Remember, it was stopped by Siago in the 1980 when he take over government, and was resumed back in the 1990s. And we were told later that it was stopped by those coders as well. So we can get a pattern in terms of the participation of different governments at different times and what they were up against and what they noticed or what have not been noticed by others. Right? And then we get an understanding why it was favorable for some people and not favorable for others. It is interesting though that Mr. Liu seems to be suggesting to us that Andrew had accepted that it was an alright deal and Chad was right in saying that it was a payment structure that he was speaking to. And then they were paid commensurate to the same type of payment like what we have paid our own people. See, but there's more to it than that must meet the eye, and that is what to come into the benefit of it. The American government, Trump and Rubio, we are to choose to say that there must be set thanks to them because them not just in a particular direction, so what's wrong with this. That's why we're having the discussion now. So, you understand? So there's a lot of work to be done. There's a lot of questions to be answered.
You see, what we have to look, as I say, none of us paid any attention to the detail of this program until now.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
And no Jamaican, Travis, you're a Jamaican working overseas. Would you agree to having even 5% of your salary sent back to the Jamaican government?
Just ask a question to the Jamaican. No Jamaican have to ask a question.
No Jamaican will agree to that. And we should not accept it for anybody else.
Yes.
So
I believe, hold on, Chuck, I believe you go too far. You're one step ahead. Let me tell you where I stop. Where I start boil the water from. Because germ, I allow the germ to manifest. I start boil the water. Sorry. My pay can go directly to government to then pay me.
right, and that is where these doctors, nurses, and teachers.
Morning, gentlemen.
Morning, Rusty.
Can I say
That is
this
where
too?
these doctors. Hold on, Rusty. That is where these doctors, teachers, and other professionals from Cuba, and I've been working with, right? And if the part of it is true that they can only retain what 200 US in value, they are not allowed to form any personal relationship while they are here in Jamaica. They can't take up one, they take a trip, go to the US, they can't take a trip, go anywhere. No Jamaican, none of we would agree to that for our government. Me hear Rwanda say because they train them for free. Whether or not we train for free, it doesn't matter. None of us will accept it for ourselves. Why we want another country to accept it for them citizens? No, I can't say foolishness. Can't do it. Can't do it. But miss, I would like more to know the last time this contract was renewed. Yes, Rusty.
Yeah, may I say, I was yesterday years old when I find out about this. How much people in Jamaica did know about this?
None of us know the details of this contract.
Then, all I know,
none of us know.
How could a man, a doctor, a medical doctor like Dr. Daz, want to have issues with this now? Most of we don't even want to pay tax because Dr. Daz arrange something for a man, evade tax. Right? Bring in a much dialysis machine and evade the taxes to the government. Right? And you are want to agree to keep on a system where people now get them pay. It'll go to the government and now get a stipend. So, I want to know from Dr. Daz now, would you like to be working your money now as a doctor, as a free doctor? In the free world, we have a medical complex, right? Would you like for no say the government to take your money from your medical complex where you have and your pay where you get from the Ministry of Health and give what them feel for give out it? Would he?
May I put on my hand, come on, say
so you see them people sometimes wonder what for them type of hypocrisy must be spelled with something else, but on a letter.
Yeah.
Hey, when I heard about this kind of a contract and arrangement, yes, or a couple of days ago, me shocked. Me couldn't believe that something modern day slavery go on under my nose in Jamaica. Yeah. Me couldn't believe. Me shocked. I was shocked. Modern day slavery under my nose go on in Jamaica. Yeah, me never know that.
And you have people. Canadian, yes.
I'm paying people kick up rumpus now. Now for show you, no want Jamaican people for wake up and see the type of people. I see PNP for who they are, you know. And if Jamaican people do not see PNP for who they are, you know, it simply mean one thing, you know. Either we done bad or we are just one big setup free.
What me say? The point me say. There's a whole heap of farm worker that leave Jamaica and go do farm work. Me not talk about big doctors, no. Me talk about like the common man.
Farm
We
work,
got a
yes.
farmer go struggle through whole heap of coalness and where I pick up a cut cane, and no matter where the farmer can go. A man wouldn't like them take for him money where my work so hard and send come back to Jamaica where him can't even get to feed him family to owe him one feed it. It couldn't work out. First thing I said, the government wicked.
Yeah.
But
Dr. Daz have a nerves.
Rusty,
When I hear you gone completely silent. Hold on, Johnny didn't like him. I'm trying to make a point here. Now I hear Johnny
Rusty,
there.
Rusty, I don't think you should go down that line yet because what we are discussing is mere speculation because we does not have the full evidence of what is going on. We don't have a contract and we don't know whether what we are discussing now is true, yes or no. So we have to be very careful of the languages we use.
No,
Because there is
Chuck,
no
Chuck,
certainty
Chuck,
that
Chuck,
what the
Chuck.
contract is.
hold on.
Hold on.
Chuck, I'm going to repeat this again. One of the doctors interviewed by the investigators who were currently working in Jamaica at the time that he was interviewed stated that in their contract, it doesn't say that this is the routing that the PA will take. But this is the actual reality of the system that they're involved in. They're not allowed to speak to the media. They're not allowed to form relationships out here. They're not even allowed to have private practices in Jamaica. You know, Jamaica have the space of private practice, right?
Yeah.
They're not allowed to have private practices or seek any other employment.
All right, let me go find George Davis' report from this morning and see if we can play it through.
All right. But the president come back and Chavi, him gone to good.
Now, Johnny, then okay, I can get disconnected. Then we come back when he can.
Yeah, all right. So we'll continue the conversation. Mr. Hughes, Rusty not talk out of terms no more than nobody else. You know. We might talk what is available to all of us. And therefore, if anything that is not sufficiently documented is on the proof.
What come back now.
All right, continue your piece.
So what I just say is that as farm workers we go a different country go work. We and the Cubans are almost in the same boat. It's just that the farm workers them get paid individually. And none of the farm workers them will come here go to Canada, US, or anywhere go work. Who don't want the government to take them hard-earned work money where them can't pay to feed them family to owe them feed them family. So if you don't want it to come to you, why you want it to somebody else? You get what me I say? It's just like a farmer.
Simple that.
It's just that them are doctors.
But if we all remember growing up, one of the things that we always say about Cuba and Castro is that him order nurses and doctors to go cut cane in the field. Right? No, Philip, we are not comparing the farm work program. We're just making a simple. So, Johnny, we're just making a point.
Yeah, right.
So we're not comparing.
Canadian farm workers wouldn't even want their pay to be sent to the government first. Then the government send them it.
Then the government
not even that row, or even.
But Chavi, you know that a percentage of farm workers' money come back to the government and then collect it with them in them return. Did you know that?
And the government get that payment, but guess what? The farm worker is still directly paid. And that's where the problem starts, Y'all are dealing with all of the afters and all of the implication that comes after. I realize that those fight. But what is true that they might pay?
I am not here fighting anything, I am not here fighting.
No, Mr. Blair has agreed that he would terminate the program too.
No, Chuck, I've been here this entire time. And the amount of twisting and turning before, he could have barely nearly squeechy, whisper.
All right,
I'm not buying into that.
Travis, say if you can ask him, I'll get the answer for him.
No, I'm not asking no question because I already know what the answer is. My argument is this.
Chavi, before you come in, remember an attempt was made by a public servant in the 1990s, you know, of belonging to Jamaica Labour Party, who supposed to have picture of a piece of the farm worker money. But Chuck tell you what to it. When
Yeah, he go to prison for troubling the farmers' money.
And another picture
Yes.
is a pinch, you never take him a whole light. A picture.
I'm sure you Blair can tell you that story because
Yeah,
you're
Blair-
right.
you
You Blair
Blair
tell
can
us
tell
a
you
story
that.
about Jack Smith.
Yeah, tell that you be. Yeah,
You Blair, tell us
about
about Jack Smith. Why did Jack Smith go to prison?
And not only Jack Smith, you know, because it was the permanent secretary also. Both of them went to prison for stealing 70,000 US belonging to farm workers. So not only
All right.
the minister,
So the
but also the
government,
permanent secretary.
so this government, the government
That
of
happened in the
Jamaica
1990s.
defended those people money.
Yeah, of course. That is what you expect your government to do. Because those money belong to the farm workers, not the minister and the permanent secretary. Jack Smith and Corbin Aiken. Yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Yo, the same government would have put pen to paper. The very same government would have put pen to paper to support a regime that was doing worse than that to its own people. Why was that so?
You ask that government, you know, if you ask that question, Paul, you would realize that the program span both government of Jamaica, both political administration. So we have to, we don't want to keep. No. If something is wrong under my administration and Chuck administration take over and it is wrong, if he continue with it, should I say that he continue with it?
Well, Mr. Yo, the very genesis of the program, you know, start with sinister intent and intention. You agree to that? In 1976.
While I will agree that the program started in 1976, the program continued under both administrations.
No, but Mr. Hughes, I am saying.
So if you want to blame one administration, go ahead.
No, Mr. What I'm doing is.
We don't tell you, me not have the conversation because you won't get any justifying argument from this individual. He is going to go down. He is going to go down.
Run the program. Play Jack Davis.
Excuse me, but it was a contract for 50 years, right? Is it that so?
Now, that's what I'm trying to figure, if the contract was for 50 years and when was it last renewed?
Yes,
when
so
was it last? Yeah,
the contract was signed in 1976.
Yeah, that was it where it beginning. That was where it beginning. Yeah, you can come up and ask him the DP.
Morning, guys. Morning.
Morning,
Classic, beg you 1 second. Because here's one argument me hear these people are spinning and throwing to throw off people. They're comparing the agreement between the countries to the contractual time frame of the individual doctor. Because what you know, because the doctor only come for a period of like 3 to 5 years, they're saying each time it's a brand new agreement between the countries. No, don't do that.
Individual contract.
Do not do that. This whole argument on us, let's say me now hold an argument with them because they're going to try to justify it and they will not outrightly say, yo, this is wrong. Even when you ask them a hypothetical question, they might twist and turn.
Explain to the listeners, how comes the contract ended in 2023? Explain to the listeners, how come the contract ended in 2023 then? If it's a contract, from 1976. Hold on, Paul, and let Travis answer how come the contract ended in 2023.
No, it was not from 1976, Comrade Blair.
Yeah.
That contract was ended in the 80s by Siaga, and a new one was signed in the 90s under Michael Manley again.
Exactly.
Irrespective of where it was signed, explain why the contract ended in 2023.
Classic.
Ended on 2023 that it wasn't re-signed.
When you Chuck, as me say, me not do it with them. What I will do is
I will
speak to the people. I will speak
people have
to
a
the people.
question for Blair.
Oh, I'm going to let you class. Let me say this last thing. I'll let you class it. What I'm going to do is speak to the people. People them. I remember they were out here running that there's a trend. Oh, they did it with Market Me. And now it's the same thing happen again. But they are ignoring the trend that exists in the people, the PNP, and how them do contract. Highway 2000 contract, 50-year bad contract. JPS, bad contract. And I can name a whole long list going on. And be a bad contract they do that does not benefit people. We
So,
know it. The
Mr.
track record
Blair,
is there.
Mr. Blair, I ask a question, please, and thanks. I make me just get something because I say me understand you. 1976 to 20, to 20, what you say? 2023. Mr. Blair.
The drums loudly and demanding answers.
Alright, make Chuck play the tragedy piece. I'll go back to the questions.
Which tells you that there is something under the gravy. Over the weekend, a document emerged. I read 44 pages of it. There appears to be, I won't say a justification for the United States' stance towards the medical program and them using their muscle to impose their weight on Caribbean countries who have this medical program to discontinue said medical programs. I wouldn't say there appears to be justification, but you can see why the US has taken this stance and has flexed its muscle in the way it has. Because maybe like you or the other person, Tana, I thought that the medical mission over the years, over the decades, Scott Motley said almost 50 years, and then the education program, which was formalized thereafter, and which was which followed the building of 4 schools, yeah, that the Cuban government was just so benevolent to give us this assistance and send us their professionals, and that this was the basis, benevolence and a love for humanity and the desire to help a brother in need or a sister in need was at the heart of this medical mission and this education mission. There's an organization called Cuba Archive or Free Society Project. They were founded in Washington, D.C. in 2001. Now they're headquartered in Miami. They have prepared a brief on the education mission and the medical mission, which tell a different story to suggest it's not about benevolence, it's not about brotherly love, it's not about the goodness of their heart, but that the Cuban government has used the medical mission and the education mission to make profit, huge profits, and effectively have pressed into servitude the workers that they've sent here over 50 years as medical professionals and relatively laterally as education professionals. I'm going to start in this short time I have with, and I'm going to go quickly. So if anything falls through the cracks, hopefully we'll have some time for calls later where I can explain some more. In 2023, the former Cuban ambassador, to Jamaica, Ambassador Quinones Sanchez, he accused the US of waging a, quote, very dirty campaign against Cuba, end quote, and said that the Cuban doctors have a salary in Cuba, that the ambassador said in 2023 that not only do the Cuban doctors have a salary in Cuba, they get 100% of their salary. And they also receive a huge amount of money working wherever they are as part of the agreement signed with the Cuban government. And that when they come to Jamaica, it doesn't mean they lose their job in Cuba. He said Cubans working in Jamaica have the benefit of bringing their family to vacation in Jamaica, paid for by the Cuban government. The investigation done by CubaArchive.org.
Sometimes I hate YouTube.
Makes a lie of every single one of those claims. Now, the authors of this 44-page document looking at Cuba's internationalist mission in Jamaica and calling it troubling collaboration. It says that the Cubans who have been brought here, well, we know what slavery is. Obviously, we would know. We're experts in it. Our ancestors were enslaved. So we're not going to compare anything likely to that. But it's a kind of servitude that if you were to stretch the definition of slavery, which we won't, it's a kind of servitude which is inhumane. That's the kind of program that this document, these are Cubans who've done the research, and they don't have, they say, the cooperation agreement between the Cuban government and the Jamaican government. But what they have are the contracts that individual workers signed with their Cuban government. Those are what they have put evidence, as far as evidence, they put pictures of them in the document. They've quoted from them extensively. They've redacted certain parts to keep people's identity secret. So what they did, they got information from about 3 doctors over a period. And they also got information from teachers. And they've used that to say, well, this is the arrangement that exists between the Cuban government and the medical professionals and the education professionals to prove their argument that it is a glorified system of servitude that the researchers say the government of Jamaica has been drawn into, the government of Jamaica has facilitated Cubans being pressed into servitude to the benefit of their country. In 2023, based on the information that the researchers were able to collate, they found that Cuba benefited to the tune of $4.4 billion from the people they had working outside of Cuba in other countries. How do you say, well, how did that sum come about? How does the Cuban government earn from its citizens working outside of Cuba? By taxes? No, not by taxes. By direct hand in the pocket, if we are to believe the researchers here. So let me quickly get to it. One doctor told the researchers that the regulations force all workers exported by the Cuban government and all Cubans who travel abroad on official missions to subordinate themselves to Cuban supervisors. It includes numerous arbitrary restrictions, such as the forced return to Cuba after performing their assigned duties and on the date and transportation indicated, and forbids driving any means of transportation without authorization. So you can't drive car at Jamaica unless the Cuban government says you can drive a car. Failing to comply with the imposed location system, associating with anyone who does not support revolutionary ideals, having relationships with or marrying locals without informing supervisors, and speaking to the media without informing supervisors. The regulations establish a detailed disciplinary framework with consequences of escalating severity. Sanctions include public reprimand, fines of up to 25% of the salary in national currency for up to 6 months, loss of remuneration, reassignment to a position with inferior working conditions, transfer to another locality under worse conditions, demotion from a higher rank position, revocation of the mission, expulsion from the mission. So these just say, well, simple thing. The Cuban government sending their people overseas and tell them that they mustn't have any relationships with locals and so forth. There's nothing wrong with that. All right, listen to this now. The Cuban worker in Jamaica, and this is specific to Jamaica, Dr. Number 1, he says, I was sent to a region of the country outside the capital, and I had to pay the bulk of my wages went back to the Cuban government. So if he made $1,200 in the month, he kept $200 to pay his rent and utilities and everything else. The rest of the money was taken by the Cuban government. And then when he got a bonus, 50% of that bonus, meaning for overtime, not a bonus, an overtime payment, 50% of all payments like overtime went to the Cuban government. So they testify here, the doctors interviewed, that when the Cuban government takes the money that they work, the overwhelming majority of the money they work, and they take half of the extras that they work as well, that they barely are able to survive. Some of them, they eat rice alone because that's what they can afford, because when you are left with $200 left, what can you buy? They say the doctors interviewed by this publication.
Your
English is so good.
Sometimes I
used to
hate
feel
YouTube.
stuck, actually. I was studying English, but I had no one.
They are forbidden by the Cuban government from practicing private medicine in Jamaica. So the government of Jamaica can hire them privately. They have to grant the health ministry in Cuba broad powers on their behalf as legal representatives in Jamaica. As I said, they have to travel back to Cuba at the end of their contract and during vacation periods. They have to surrender their passport to the chief of mission upon arrival in Jamaica. Tufton told us last Friday that the government of Jamaica was concerned about this and they ended this aspect. They have to submit to the health ministry in Cuba on a monthly basis a copy of their payslip within 10 days of receiving their payslip, a sworn statement to confirm that this payslip is accurate, and proof of the bank deposit of the money that they are sending back to Cuba. They receive 100% of their salary in Cuba, so they get a Cuban salary, but this Cuban salary is was equivalent to $50 per month in 2018 and $4 US per month in 2025 when this document was prepared. And there is a penalty of up to 8 years in prison if a Cuban doctor here or teacher abandons the mission and goes into private practice or leaves this country for another country. If they are caught, the law in Cuba, 1976 Penal Code, says up to 8 years in prison. So the time is up. The time flies. But there are so many details in here. The point is, you have to ask questions. You can't draw and jump to conclusions. Have we benefited? And we certainly have benefited. Many of us have benefited from the service of a Cuban nurse or a Cuban doctor or a Cuban health professional. And Jamaica is better for the Cubans having been here. There's no question about that. And we don't regret the service that the Cubans have given. But under what conditions and at what cost? Has the Cuban government over time, according to this document and according to the US officials, been pressing their own people into a process and system of servitude where they have them working here, taking the bulk of their pay, taking a half of anything extra that they do, and then bringing them back to Cuba after 2 or 3 years and repeating it with a new batch? Is that what has happened over 50 years? And is that why this medical mission is no more? Because the US has told its partners, including Jamaica, that that practice can work no more. Just questions this based on what we've read over the weekend.
Comrade Blair, I would love to hear you on that first. Comrade Blair, let me hear you on that what we just learned first. You first.
One of the things that jump out at me was there is a section where him said $50 a month, and then the $50 dropped to $4 a month. Yeah. I totally don't believe that. Hi, how are you? Hey, how you doing? I'm okay, good. Bye-bye. I don't believe that. And from the mere fact that if you know the antecedents of Cubans living in Miami, and to quote a report coming from them in Miami, is of no moment. I don't believe that report. I want to get official statement. I don't want to get some statement from a group of people who have a political axe to grind.
But you Blair, hold on, you Blair.
Let me speak to something else. Hold on, Mr. Blair. Mr. Blair, hold on, let me explain something to you. You talk about 50. Hold on, Mr. Blair. Hold on a minute. You talk about 50. You talk about 50 turning to $4. It's 50 pesos, right? And then he gave you the conversion in US dollars. So I hope that helps your confusion.
No, when me just stop him for Chubby is that Cuban said we can't just take things from people who have political antecedents just like that. And I am shocked to hear that coming from Blair. So
that means we cannot listen to the
from a political
Chuck,
point of view.
Chuck, that means we can't listen to Integrity Commission, JAM, NIA, and none of them people there. That's what
this is a research group, this is a research group, and they are Cubans, right? So they must have experienced the same and know they're doing investigation within their country. They're interviewing their own countrymen.
Sorry guys. DP say I have a question long time. You have one question for Blair. Long time you come to ask Blair a question.
Good morning, Mr. Blair. How are you doing?
DP.
Am I allowed to ask you the question, sir?
You know, my mother's name was Phillips, and I understand your last name is Phillips, so you can ask me any question.
Okay, so that means maybe we're cousins.
we could be related.
Gotcha.
So
All
you
right.
can go ahead and ask me a question.
My question is, could the Jamaican, well, not the Jamaican government, could the Andrew Holness administration terminate the contract with JPS before the end of the contract?
It all depends on the clause in the contract. It all depends on the clause in the contract.
So in other words, you're saying yes, they could have ended it.
It all depends on the clause.
But
I don't know all the clause. Yeah.
But we can't talk about what we
Blair is
don't
a
know.
goalkeeper.
Because the reason why I ask you that, you're trying to say that because the Andrew Holness administration carry on a bad contract from 1976 that Manley stated that nobody can tell him how to deal with him friend and how to treat them. And the money was not going directly to the whosoever come. It's to the country supporting communism. You're saying that JLP could have done something. You don't think that's disingenuous?
Well, I am almost certain you didn't hear that from me. That is your word, not mine. Now your word, DP, not mine.
But I heard you saying that it's all right, it's all right.
The
I rest my case.
Hold on, DP, let me answer you.
Oh, come on,
the Prime Minister said.
Care about the goalpost.
The Prime Minister said when Marco Rubio came here that the agreement with Cuba is in line with the labor law of Jamaica.
And what you miss is that, yes, we started, they allowed them to get them all onto them on a passport. So there were changes that were made. And the Cuba now come up and say, no, we're not allowed to go further. We're taking back our people.
So that is what
the thing is, Blair, as we have explained to you,
with.
that statement from the Prime Minister was related to their payment. The payment does core with international and Jamaican labor law, that they were paid the same rate, they were not paid any less. But you, Blair, listen, Blair, take out the bless up yourself, Kizzy, my dear. Take Andrew out tight. We're not talking about what Andrew say, Blair. I'm talking, let us discuss.
Take out the politics out of it.
Take out the politics out of it.
Complete.
We're discussing human rights now.
On both sides.
We are discussing human behavior, right? And I'm saying, Blair, under these conditions, would you agree to work under these conditions, or for any of your children or any of your friends to work under these conditions?
I have already expressed my views to you, Chuck. That I don't.
Me never hear. Express it again.
DP said never hear. Go again.
No, I would not myself, my siblings, or my children. I would want them to work on conditions like those, if what is said is correct.
All right.
Because
so let me ask you this then,
it is correct.
Let me ask you this. What do you forget all of these things what we are hearing now? What do you think would drive the ending of a near 50 years relation? What do you think would drive the ending of that?
A contract is something which is negotiated by two parties. And because one party, both parties couldn't come to a common ground, then part. It's not that when the government changed and the JLP government took over, they rescinded the contract based on
did Bruce Gold end the
no?
agreement in 2008?
I am not sure. I couldn't speak to that. I'm not sure. Don't hold me to it. I'm not sure.
We know Siaga ended it in the 80s.
No,
We know
Siaga
Siaga
ended
ended in the 80s.
diplomatic relationship.
Yes,
Totally.
which in turn end the agreement.
Exactly. Yeah.
Chuck, thanks here. I'm gonna drop down and go and listen.
All right,
I am still concerned, Chuck, that Guyana and Barbados was able to sign a contract directly with the participant, and Jamaica could not.
What it says,
But you did not read the press
Blair,
release.
is about who did the agreement in Jamaica.
But
what was the intention of the person that did the agreement? Why Guyana was able to get a more humane agreement?
All of that fly over your head. All of that fly over your head. Who signed the contract? How long the contract was signed for? All of that fly over your head.
But the Ministry of Foreign Affairs did put out a media press briefing.
One general I would answer you one way. And they said we had the said question which I posed to Chavi. Why the contract ended in 2023?
But watch it now. Let me ask you a question now. You know, you'd make a perfect goalkeeper, you know. He's a good goalkeeper.
He keep moving the post. Nobody can score.
Moving the post.
No, I don't move the post.
Yes.
Ask me a question and I answer.
You move the post all the time. Because you're not answering the question straight. You're not answering with no sense.
Gentlemen and ladies.
Hold on.
Just take a minute, the mechanic take a call and come back to you.
All right, Derek. Come back. I'll leave it back to you. Come back when you're ready.
Him not come down.
Bertie, may I try find it, but every time we check it, all it says the agreement has been in place since 1976. So give me no renewal, give me no renewal date, give me nothing. Right? So me not finding a date. All it says from 1976 and it ended in 2023. So give me no in-between date. But classic.
Man run gun.
You're there a long time, I wait in silence.
In general, I want to talk to still,
Oh, Blair, all right. When Blair come back.
But then I just really look on him myself.
No, man, it's him take a call.
Him take him next phone, call him phone, and that him do. He no want to talk to me.
It don't matter, but do some research will come back. Are you a single man now?
I wonder to myself, though. Being that him always a defend the PNP, him still a defend the stance of the PNP. If him agree with human trafficking and modern day slavery, and would he put himself in that position? Would he if Andrew go in a parliament tomorrow and pass one law, say boy, all PNP supposed to send back with them at work, come at Jamaica County. Would he agree with that? And a PNP me use specifically, because we know they're not like GLP, none at all. I wonder if he would agree. I would know the farm workers. Exactly. But the reality is, you listen to this man and it's like him now defend the stance that we need to have some humanity in this and defend the workers, the Cuban workers themselves. He might defend.
Advocacy, this cannot be true. Advocator, this cannot be true. You know why it can't be true? Mr. You have renewal in 1983 and 1987. No. This is fake. You know why? Edward Philip George Siaga ended diplomatic relations with the Cuban government in 1980. So when you have this renewal, this cannot be true. All the Cubans were removed from Jamaica during the 1980s. So this way I send me. So we know a fake news when we see it, my virgin. So advocate that this way you send me is fake news. Why you send me what this what on a work up here is the timeline for when the doctor them stay in Jamaica. But there was no Cuban doctor in Jamaica during the 80s because Siaga ended diplomatic relations with Cuba. So that's why this way you send me cannot be true. That alone. So may I disregard this, sir. This is not official information, advocate. Based on history where we know it can't be true.
Sure.
Continue, classic. What my classic done and my classic you finish?
till the general come back. I'm on talk to him, man.
All right, go and protect him.
Good morning again,
No,
people.
man, me die, man. Me not go nowhere. Me
Are you
come
there?
back.
All right,
Yeah, man.
hold on. All right,
To protect him,
Classic,
man.
you
Let
come
you
back.
protect him and then
Hold on.
return to that. Let
Classic
you
can't answer
protect
question.
him,
I
then
just want
return to
to
that.
make a statement here, so Classic can't answer
All
question.
right, go ahead, protect.
It is quite mysterious. I'm a warning against this all the time, you know. I'm a warning against this. No make comrades dictate to no how the conversation proceed. No, look at it. This is a policy we're discussing. There is no policy worldwide that is established without politics. So when it hurt the PMP, don't make the PMP tell you, oh, take out the politics out there. Whenever it has to do with the searchlight and the PMP, all of a sudden they don't want to discuss JLP and PMP. It cannot be discussed without that. It is politics that establishes policies, because a political situation has to be in place in order for policies to take root. Which policy you know introduced without politics and politician? Which policy? It has to be discussed within the confines of a political organization that either form government or that saw to the institution of the particular policy. There is no way Michael Manley publicly speak as a good orator that, oh, we are defending the rights of people, which we know of a fact that the PMP has never done. But privately and secretly, him throw the workers of Cuba under the bus. This was negotiated by the PMP, established and instituted by the PMP. And so the PMP must face them own demons and come out and explain to the people of Jamaica, why do you speak openly? There are literature that supports. There are literature today, even in the social sciences, even the political sciences at the university, them, where everybody say Michael Manley did this and Michael Manley did that. Are you going to tell me that nobody knew the details of this arrangement before? It must be discussed within the politics. And if you try to do it outside of it, then we will never arrive at a solution. I ask a question them now, Classic.
And that is why, well, I know you. And that is why protecting, I asked the question, what is the difference between the agreement that was signed in Guyana and the one that was signed in Jamaica? It was the signee, the person that was negotiating on the behalf of Jamaica. That was the problem. That's why the one in Guyana is totally different than the one in Jamaica. The man who signed the Jamaican one is a man that says he will follow Fidel Castro to the mountaintop and back. That's the man who signed this agreement. And as Cliff, you said earlier, that Michael Manley, who was supposed to be a trade unionist, I don't believe Michael was a trade unionist, signed this agreement to exploit workers like this.
One more thing before Classic come in. Notice the history. Hold on, man. Notice the history of the PMP. Notice the history of the PMP. Every wage deal signed in Jamaica undermine the worker. But yet still when they speak publicly, they speak with bluster and big up them just as usual. But every negotiation undermines the Jamaican worker. Notice it.
Yeah, example of that protect him.
Yes, boss.
Free zone. Free zone. It never helped the workers. It helped them out of our job and helped free zone lockdown. Good year. So, you're perfectly right.
You see, if we want to discuss Cuba and the medical professional / contractor, we want to discuss politics, PNP versus JP, we can. But when I listened to the Prime Minister at the CARICOM summit the other day, the language used by protecting JA was quite different from the language of the Prime Minister of Jamaica. So while people like protecting can come out here You understand? And want to spew political hatred towards the People's National Party about the contract. The Prime Minister mentioned no such things where Cuba is concerned. So what we have now is a contradiction of sentiments towards Cuba.
I do not speak on behalf of the government or the Prime Minister. So don't tell me what the government said. I do
So
not
I would
speak on
prefer to
behalf
listen
of
to the
them.
Prime Minister than listen to you.
I am a thinking Jamaican. All of a sudden you want to listen to Andrew.
Let me say something.
Last year before election, Andrew knows big and Andrew a thief, but now you want to listen to him?
You have never heard those languages come from my mouth.
Mr. Blair. You think you have some important part of the conversation we are trying to have, you know, and protecting Jay is quite right. Let me help you. Wait, Mr. You. Let me refresh your mind. We are saying.
No, you don't need to. Wait. Just make your point. Just make your point.
No, Mr. You, let's take it easy, man. Mr. You,
I need no
help. Man. Mr. Blair, hear me out for a moment. We are asking the question that how can a man with the eloquence of Michael Manley, you guys claim him to be, and the type of leadership that he provided in the 70s, how could he have crafted a contract that do this to his fellow Cuban, if not for particular reason? How can you now come and say that Mr. Protecting Jay have a sinister motive by saying what he says?
Because we are discussing a contract which we are not privy to. Neither you nor me have not seen the contract. So how can we be discussing a contract and we don't see the contract?
Did you see the Prime Minister 28
Have you seen the contract?
Did you see the 28
Have you
bank
seen
account?
the contract?
Did you see the 28 bank account? Come on, man. You see uno hypocritical?
Mr.
You
Blair.
want to answer to that? You want to answer to that?
No,
Mr.
Blair, we don't want your answer to that because we not change the conversation.
No, I am
Mr. Blair, I don't want you to answer
him.
that because we're not going to change the conversation.
No, and he might change it. He
Blair,
might.
Blair,
We're not going to change.
Classic one coming.
Classic,
Tell
you
that
say
to
you also you
protect
do want
him.
to talk to Blair. Go ahead.
Classic one answer that question.
Blair, based on what you said, was that a good contract?
Chuck, I am here waiting a very long time. So
I have not seen the contract, so I don't know if it is good.
Based on the report.
Hold on, Mr. Blair. Nobody knows if it's the contract.
No,
But based on what you heard,
Blair,
no,
based on
The contract is.
that is
man.
And
speculation.
you yourself say you want your family to be subjected to that.
Based on the report.
Affairs sent out
Blair,
a media release,
Blair.
so you would know some of the conditions within the
That is not
contract.
a contract. So don't expect me to
Mr.
speak
Blair.
to something which I have not read.
Bet you
Based on the report,
be a
is it a good contract? Based
If
on
the
the
shoes
report,
was on the other foot, you'd have said it's a contract, you know.
Based on which report? Based on which report? The Auditor General report?
can I come in?
Based on everything what we hear. Based on everything what we hear. That one good report, yes or no?
No,
That
that's
one good
speculation,
contract?
brethren.
Hey, it's a
That's
Blair.
speculation.
Is that a contract we should? Yes, man. Well, someone now make me get a chance, man.
That's
So, man,
speculation.
Is that something
Yeah.
we're supposed to love up and hug up? Or something? Yes, man. What you say? We should have love up and hug up that day.
That's a speculation, Classic. You have no, you can't tell me.
Blair, you say you and your family wouldn't subject yourself to that.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
say you and your family wouldn't subject yourself to that. So what are you saying now?
Okay, you said that.
No, hold on, Rusty. Let us put things in context. Because the host, Chuck.
Man, stop chat rubbish, man.
One different contract,
Chuck,
one different context you have put
Chuck himself, hold on. Chuck himself said he has not seen the contract.
All right, news time, Mr. Blair,
Right.
news time.
But our if, which are both conjunctions, is not factual. So what the contract, what George Davis get from the Miami and I read, That is not factual. So don't
Judge Davis, Judge Davis was not reading a contract.
It's factual. What is
Chuck,
factual?
let me ask a
then?
question before you play the news.
Go ahead, Omalo.
Good morning, each and everyone. Good afternoon. Mr. Blair, based on the precedents that was set in the 70s.
Precedents that
were set in the 70s. I'm not going to talk about the contract or anything. Yeah? Based on the precedents that was set in the 70s. Do you think this decision is the best decision for Jamaica?
Which decision?
That is made to terminate the contract.
Jamaica didn't terminate the contract. Did Jamaica terminate the contract?
No matter who terminated there, was it a good decision for Jamaica? That's the question.
Me said Jamaica did not terminate the contract.
Whether Jamaica terminated, was it a good decision to end the program?
It is not a good decision to end the program. The program and the contract are two separate things. Let us speak to the contract.
It's the same thing.
So does the program exist without the contract, or does the contract exist without the program? Which is it?
The program exists with the contract. It's a contractual
So can you end the contract and not end the program?
You end the contract.
You're only making yourself
the program and not the
answer the question, though. You're only making yourself look stupid. Just answer the question. Is it good for based on the precedents that were set in the 70s? Is this ending of this total program? Is it good for Jamaica?
The program in particular, the I program, has benefit Jamaica a lot. And
yes, we agree with you, Blair. None of us not denying that.
Hold on. Let me answer the question.
The question is ending it a good move?
Ending the program is not a good move. Ending the contract based on all which you, Classic and all of you guys presented without evidence cannot substantiate.
Would we continue the program without ending the contract?
Mr. Blair, like I said this to you. We don't know if this sound like it makes sense to you. Look here, there's no contract without the program, and there's no program without the contract. It's one of the same, technically. See? So when you try to shift all over the place,
Guys, hold on. Blair have a question that I need him to answer. It's a simple question, Blair. Simple question. Is it a good move for simple question Omalo ask you? Is it a good move for Jamaica to end the program? End the program, end the contract. Any one of them you feel like
right.
Is it a good move?
No,
right.
no, it's not a good no.
Omalo, I mean that question is okay if we don't get to you yet, my friend. Hold on, okay, if we get to you.
Hold on.
That question is to Blair.
Hold on, okay. The program benefit the poor people of Jamaica.
Mr. Right? Blair, we not yes, I benefit the people of Jamaica.
Chuck, I don't know what is in the contract. I don't know what is in the contract.
Mr. Blair,
I don't know what is in the contract.
Mr. Blair,
me going.
I don't know what is in the contract.
The government pays them.
Mr. Blair,
Go ahead.
Just a minute. Can I say something, Mr. Blair? Mr. Blair.
Go ahead, Marlon.
Me going out, Mr. Blair, and stealing people's stuff, and my kids benefiting from it, yeah? And it come to an end. Does my kids, is it good for my kids to end what I was doing, or should I still continue it?
Wrong analogy, Omalo. That's a criminal case you're speaking of.
By doing criminality right now.
Mr. Blair, let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question a different way then.
Jenna, what go on, Jenna?
Blessings. With the knowledge you have, right? With the knowledge you have the public right now about how the contract is, right? Do you think it's a good move when the government decides not to renew the contract in the same form that it is? With all of the information we got now.
The government did not refuse to renew the contract.
Yes, in a current farm.
The government did not refuse to renew the contract.
In a current farm. All right, to the information that I get
Hold on,
from the health
Jonah.
minister.
Jonah, hold on.
They refused
Jonah,
to
hold on.
contract in his
Hold
present form.
Hold on. Chuck said this morning that the contract was terminated by Cuba, not the government of Jamaica.
Cuba, yeah, that's what they
The
did.
government want change. The government decides them now. Them don't want it in the same in a farm when they back in farming at the back in the days.
Where they're not,
Yeah.
doing,
So with the way these are the JPS bill. The same thing like the JPS
Labor
contract.
Organization.
It's something similar like the JPS contract where they decide to now go with the JPS contract in the same farm it is. The same thing with the Cuban doctors. So that is the question them are really ask. If with the current contract as it is now, if you think the decision that the government took that we don't want the contract the same way like what it was. We are changing it.
But Comrade Blair, take a break for me, Comrade Blair. Let me rest you for a second. We have a next Comrade here.
Chuck.
Go on to O'Keefe, yeah.
Comrade Blair, just a second. Based on geopolitics in the world, and the president in the United States at this moment, and his policies and ideology, do you think it's best for us to move on from this contract that we had with Cuba?
Well, when you speak on geopolitics now, we're going into a different realm. And I wouldn't encourage Jamaica to go up against the United States where certain things is concerned. So it's best if we end it like that. I would have no problem.
Thank you. Give him a clap.
Man. Bad for doing the part. Mr. Sanders,
Well,
I have a question.
Question straight.
One of the difficulties what we face, and sometimes that's why I'm a little bit uneasy if you have a conversation. Sometimes me have a conversation, sometimes I can't have a conversation with some comrade. Because one of the
guys, tap up the screen.
One of the difficulties that exists is they have done so many ills and involving us so many bandolo that when it's time to have the conversation, they love to cause distraction, detour from the topic. And for them, it is a hard thing to face them demons. I may understand, I understand that the PMP changes face like every 2 seconds. Them just go with the wind. Anywhere the wind blow, them just go with it. Why? Because they have a history that they cannot shield themselves from. Now, tell me something. Did this arrangement benefit Jamaica? Of course. But why was it done this way? Again, let us establish the People's National Parties who have an umbilical connection to Cuba, not Jamaica. Let us remember that. The connection between Cuba and Jamaica is through the PMP. So when the PMP has signed deal, it is of benefit to the PMP personally before it is of benefit to Jamaica or anybody else. And we have to understand that it is the PMP first. It is never about Jamaica first. So yes, Jamaica derived benefits from the arrangement. Very good benefits.
Explain when it says the PNP first. Explain that. I don't understand.
Explain.
You're a comrade, brother. So you understand, say, it is the PMP first and then Jamaica after. You're a comrade, if you're a devout comrade, then you understand. I was a comrade. So I know, say, a PMP, you swear to first and everything else come after. So unless you're just a bandwagonist, so you're not really aligned substantially to the PMP, you just like the PMP. Because if you were PMP, then you would know, say, that's how it go. You swear to the PMP first. Before
protecting just one thing. Paul well mistakenly said that for the political stage, and I quickly correct it.
Yeah.
He said party first, then country. Country, then party. Just like how them always blurt out some things which is the truth and by mistake, same thing.
Let me tell you something. This is another
screen, guys. Stop up the
example
screen.
of Michael Manley's personal attraction to Fidel Castro. This is another example of it. Him sit down in that room, just like him daddy used to sit down in a colonial house and sign up some deal that was not in benefit of Jamaica. And when time the Buster realized what was happening, Buster used him wisdom and get the people together and call for a referendum, which Norman Manley championed against. Him never won the referendum, but when him realized him couldn't do it, they allowed it. And they failed the referendum. That's why PNP afraid of referendum. Now his son come sit down 50 years ago and sign a deal which includes human trafficking, forced labor, breaching all international laws. And when the discussion is to add now, we are talking about take out the politics out of it. How can you remove the politics before the politics establish it?
The government who came into power 2016 would be incompetent then.
It has nothing to do with incompetence. It has nothing to do with incompetence, my brother. It has nothing to do with incompetence. It has to do with the continuation of something that was there. There are many, I am sure, you join an organization.
I think you better make move on to somebody else.
Move on to somebody else because you're caught in
the you're not making any sense because you're not even know what caused the referendum election.
Big man.
We're not going to direct the conversation though. We already established that. So just
who are you to tell me I'm not making any sense and you don't even have a brain in the cap where you have on your head?
Please, let me say something, please. Just one thing. I do something, so I just want to say one thing. Mr. Blair, in the interest of educating Jamaicans, would you go on the PNP platform and encourage them that it's in best interest, it's in Jamaica's best interest not to go up against the United States in these type of ways?
My view is not private. I have expressed my views. I am not one of those who afraid to express my personal views. Chuck will tell you. I will always express my personal views.
So I'm saying, would you then go into, because you know you're more privy to enter a PNP box and speak your mind. Are you willing to educate them and uplift them? I would ask you to start by telling O'Keefe, educate O'Keefe and let him know that it is in Jamaican best interest to avoid and just get rid of the program.
Amalo, shut him out, Amalo. Shut him out.
You come down and shut your mouth right now.
This is not the place. O'Keefe, this is not the place, O'Keefe.
Have some respect.
Calm down. We're having a good conversation. Now we need to keep it right there. Calm down, O'Keefe. Calm down, O'Keefe. Let us keep it reasonable and respectful.
You know, hold on there. Beg a second. You know, say just a day ago I was having a conversation with Daniel. And Daniel did that talk with there. And one of the things where we agree on is the social media space. While we may be here and we support different political parties, we should be able to have this, Daniel, yes. We should be able to sit down and have a discussion. We are big people in the one look a picnic. Right? And big people who have a mind of their own, if you put all of them in a room, they will never agree on the same thing if they have a mind of their own. The only thing that you can get out of it is a good discussion. Right? But Blair, one of the things with discussions with people is that when you present facts to people in a discussion, if they are not willing to accept facts, then the discussion will go nowhere. If you present facts to somebody and say, this is the fact right here,
break up, Chucky.
the facts, then go on again.
Yeah, I hear you now.
When you present facts to people, people have to learn to accept facts, right? Now, it's simple facts what we have on the table right today is that the agreement that we had in front of us, when none of us ever thought of the details of this agreement, All we know is that Cuban come and they work and they go home. None of us ever thought of the condition of it. Even before, remember now, 2 years ago, Hugh Blair and the rest of the PMP did say, all of the Cuban doctor them gone home. Tough and send them home 2 years ago. You remember? You don't remember? So that was the argument. But now we know that was not indeed true. That was a lie. That was a propaganda. Now again, we are hearing the rumors again, say tough and send them home again. When again, that too is a propaganda, because what is in front of us is that because the Cuban government cannot get its own way, them say, uno come home. They call for their people to be repatriated home. Jamaica never send them home. Again, Jamaica did not end the agreement. Jamaica simply wanted to renegotiate and change a few of the clauses, including allow the Cubans to be paid directly. Secondly, allow the Cubans to be in control of their own travel documents and to give them freedom of movement in Jamaica. Right? These are simple things. These are the things that the Cuban government refused to agree on. And that is why they have ordered their people to return home. It had nothing to do with that. Right? But these are the facts that is in front of us, Blair. I agree with
the Jamaican government.
Chuck, you have said something very important. Chuck, you have said something very important just a while ago. Just a minute.
Because
just a minute, Chuck. You have said something very important a while ago, Chuck. And you know what?
Everything is very important. But trying to attack.
You have said, when you mention freedom of movement, it's in Jamaica Constitution that everybody on the soil here in Jamaica is entitled to freedom of movement. Michael Manley in the 70s violate that right when he signed this contract.
Agree. No, I removed O'Keefe that because I didn't want to have a conversation with him, but O'Keefe was getting very rude.
Brother Chuck, small ask a question now. So, you know, some of the doctor, them, we're forward, where the government, Cuban government has sent for. Our reason them did have to go home. Like, so, well, them are the one big man and woman can say to this government, so watch out, give me a place to stay and work and collect the money and say.
Well, remember, you know, Rusty, them are family back home, you know. Them are family back home. And you have to think if you make that decision about your family.
Me just a say, in my mind, me trip off. Because me say, I could have the only reason that's why them go back.
Yeah, man, them have family back home, so you have to think, well, if me no go back, then the prison sentence, them are going to sentence my family. So, you know, people go back to them family.
Throw it out there to induce some comments.
What I am hoping, Rusty, what I am hoping is that the ones that can, they can in fact, what you call defect to Jamaica. If they speak out loud and say, we need asylum, then Jamaica cannot send them back. Right? So that have to be their choice.
The contract is unconstitutional, and nothing that is unconstitutional shall stand up in Jamaica. Taking away their passport and limit their freedom of movement, it's unconstitutional in Jamaica. The contract no good. We don't have to talk about it no more.
You know, I think they feel obligated because of what my
Omaro, that is one that none of us, we have never thought about the details of this contract before this came up. Even when Marco Rubio came here in 24 to discuss this, we never looked at the details of this contract to say, hold on, this is we never know this, you know. We never know this, and none of us, I am sure, not even Comrade Blair don't support this thing. None of us, we not support it. Right? It doesn't matter which party is in government.
No, could I get Comrade Blair confirmation that this is unconstitutional in Jamaica?
Well, Comrade Blair is here, he can speak for himself. Comrade Blair, do you think it's unconstitutional?
If if the authentic contract does speaks on those things which is presented now, then I would have no problem in saying that. Until I can verify that those issues or those clauses are in the contract, I cannot speak on it because I would want to.
Okay, I'm going to ask a reporter friend of mine to see if he can get the Cuban deal through access to information.
So, Mr. Blair, are you saying that
because
hold on. Are you saying that the umpteen of doctors and nurses that these people interviewed that gave their statements and their reports are liars?
The recording said they spoke to three doctors. Three doctors.
She out of 10 and 30. Look here. 10 and 30.
No, the article which was.
Would you agree with that? Would you agree?
Here, what does that mean though? Because guess what? If them say police killed 200 somebody who are criminals in Jamaica in 2025, and you speak to one Jamaican and they give the information, you don't watch one somebody, you know, means the police killed 200 somebody? If it's a murder down, if the report say murder down below 700 in Jamaica, and you speak to one Jamaican and they give you that information, it's not valid because of one person you speak to. You should have speak to 3 million. Come on.
Yeah, you see, if you want an answer, I will give you an answer and protect him.
Mr. Blair said they speak to 3 doctors.
No, it's not me said that. Is what the report said. I listened to the report.
You repeated it to me.
What do you mean by that? Does it mean that the 3 doctors tell lie?
No, because Rusty said umpteen.
If then
Rusty said umpteen.
Let me finish what I said to you, Mr. Blair. If 3 out of 10 doctors said that, of 30% of 10, you know, and how much of them there? 300. So out of 100, 30 of them have said that, you know.
I think at 277 of them there now.
All right, and if on 30% of the 270 of them,
but the article, Rusty, the article did not say that those 3 cohorts is part of the group of doctors, medical professionals are in Jamaica now. He did not say that.
Jamaica. Criminality is criminality anywhere.
He never said that.
If $4.5 billion is what is sent to the Cuban government from Jamaica, 4.5 billion, we literally a mine dictatorship. We literally a finance dictatorship, human trafficking, and forced labor. We are financing. Come on, man.
I think you best listen to the article. Go listen back to the article,
protecting. You can hear me protecting? Protecting. That figure does not cover. Hold on. That figure is not all Jamaicans. It's all the workers they have outside of the country that generates that figure. It's not coming from Jamaica.
Yeah, man. Good.
All right, hold on.
Yeah, bless up yourself, yeah?
Blair, do you need a copy of that document? Yes or no?
Copy of which document? The document from the researcher down in Miami?
Do you need a copy of the Cuban archive? Yes or no? Because I think you've been making some statements here. Because initially, you refused to acknowledge the document from when somebody spoke about it.
Hold on, let me see if we can look up the document.
No, man, I have it in a truck, so I'll send it to you.
All
right. I've been going through that document from from about 5:30 this morning. All right.
I was asking not
5:30.
If he
6:30.
had a copy, I would have sent it to him.
All right. And Chuck, I will not. Sorry, not Chuck. Blair, I will not be here listening to Blair. No, I listen to everything you have to say. Listen to what me have to say.
Hold on there.
I am not going to listen to you as somebody who has the document and has been going through the document to sit and listen to you now trying to dispute the experiences of our fellow Caribbean members, right? So you disregarding, you said 3. These were 3 of the persons who had the guts
And those were
to
the three
stand
that
up.
were brave enough to speak.
Right. Knowing of the monstrosities that could have happened. There are pictures in this document showing you of the payments and instructions given. So you are on no grounds, no and whatever time, to disregard these people's lived experiences. All right? The next thing is, when you speak of the contractual agreement that has been there, you have to accept that the terms and conditions were not in the best interest of the Cuban people. Right? If I can refer to the document, there are areas in it in which persons are forced to remove any form of visual or pictorial representation of the contract. There were even areas where people never know nothing about the details in the agreement. They were so hungry and wanting to leave for a betterment of themselves that nobody spent the full
What they
time to
think
read
would
it.
have been a betterment.
Right. Because they don't think, the regime would have been hurting them in that way, for a better word. Now, when you look at that and to understand and see the information coming out of these people's experiences, I think it's distasteful regardless of what political part of the aisle you stand. Because if you're looking at it from a humanitarian standpoint, and Chuck, when I look at the time frame when this article was put together, July 2025, and look at when the government started to speaking with Cuba, it simply means there was something from this administration that realized the Cuban regime was not doing good by the people. Now, it spanned right across both PNP and JLP governments. We can't deny that. This is 5 decades, which leads us to ask questions on both sides. But my problem is, why is that the People's National Party persons refuse to accept that this was something orchestrated under their watch initially? All we're looking at is to say, was the deal a good deal for Jamaica? Of course, we benefit heavily. But at what cost to our fellow Caribbean members? Now we understood what the cost was, and there's an attempt to rectify that. You cannot now politicize it in that manner because this becomes a humanitarian need. And this is not a time where we can embrace the wrong and strong stance as Manley did in the past. Something along his statement saying, oh, we'll not go around walking on our knees, but on our 2 feet. Not in this geopolitical era, and never ever again. You have to understand that Cuba should do what is right for Cubans, which is 10 million people. And Jamaica's government will and should stand for Jamaicans, for the 3 million people. It doesn't matter what it is. This is an era where you have to protect yourself and your people. And whosoever think that Jamaican government is bowing to any superior power, this is why you aren't in leadership. This is why you're not leading anything. Because you have to understand that this is a delicate dance of power. And you have to dance it properly. Because guess what? Blair, you and PNP surrogates and whosoever are not governing this country. Right? Ununago sacrifice what it need for if this government make a wrong move. Again, this is not the geopolitical era where you can say and do as you feel like.
Harry, in fact, they would love for the government to make a wrong move so they can capitalize on it.
No, but I've seen that has been happening from last year. The Israel-Palestine thing, right? The other one where them put out a statement, not putting any name, just saying it's from the People's National Party. They've been trying to do these things and they've not come out and apologize to the people of Jamaica for partaking in the wrongfulness and also trying to orchestrate going down. Is it that Hubler? This is the question. Is it that your People's National Party wants to rule Jamaica from the ashes? That's the question I'm asking you now for you to answer.
They're gone. My research.
No, because this is what Paul. This is why I'm asking the question. You know.
Wait, Harry. Mr. Blair.
Mr. Blair, you can open your mic, please.
Oh, Mr. Blair, mic lock. Mr.
But
Blair,
I
this
sent him a request
Mr. Blair, this
to open it.
Just continue, Harry.
Okay,
Let's
okay.
come back, man. If him like him
I'm
something.
not going nowhere.
Well, Blair,
Harry
Harry
just
pose
said.
a question to you. Harry, repeat the question.
No, man, me hear the question. If Jamaica want to rule the country,
No, that
they
Mr.
want
Blair.
to rule the country. Choice.
The ashes are the high rise.
Over ashes.
You can't burn down the house where you want to live.
All right, but based on the listen to this now, Blair. The actions on these geopolitical matters have said just that from the People's National Party, and that is
Stop
factual.
quoting the People's National Party. You don't know our belief. You
What
know
do you
my
mean?
belief where that is concerned.
You, Blair.
We know your actions. Hello.
Hold on,
We know
you
your
know
belief.
my belief.
We know your actions.
Blair, everything I've said is factual. When you speak out against the stance Jamaica took, which was a stance Jamaica has taken forever regarding Israel and Palestine, your People's National Party have also issued a statement going against this geopolitical times. Those are facts. Those are evidence of your people speaking. You know, this is not me. I make it up. Everybody on this panel would have heard that.
Let me just add something to it. Not only a statement, they raised the Palestinian flag from the PNP headquarters. They never did the right thing and say, sided with Palestine.
Hold on, Chavi.
No.
Hold on, Chavi. Who raised the Palestinian flag?
Matthew Dabdoub. Matthew, hold on. No, let me tell him who did it. Matthew Dabdoub and the opposition spokesperson, Foreign Affairs at the time being Angela Brown-Burke, Dr. Angela Brown-Burke.
Thank you.
So we are saying.
Thank you.
So we are saying. What is your point? What is your point?
Hold on, man. Hold on.
These are representatives of the party.
Hold on. That only to show that we stand in solidarity with Palestinian. We stand in solidarity with Israel.
No, don't do that. No. Don't do that. Don't do that, Blair. Don't do that. Blair, don't do that. Don't do that, Blair. Blair, no, Blair.
Allow me to make my statement. Allow me to make my statement. Don't speak for me, please. It is the belief of the People's National Party that there should be a two-state Palestinian.
All right, you have to go be quiet now, because I have a patience. Hold on, Mr. Blair, I have a patience. I would implore you to go and check out the Gleaner article that was posted on the day that it was done. They stood in solidarity with Palestine. That's what it clearly said. That's their argument. You can't come up and make no story for them.
Get back to the substantive. Get back to the substantive issue now. It's about the Cuban and our relationship with them and the deal that was signed.
Sorry about that, Harry. I just wanted to add that had happened and him try to carry to something.
Allow Harry to complete what he's saying, please.
Yes, Harry, come back.
Hold on. Can I be allowed to finish what I was saying? The vote at the United Nations
Mr. Blair.
was for a
Mr.
ceasefire.
Blair. No, Mr. Blair. No, Mr. Blair. No, man. No, Mr. Blair. No.
Allow me to finish what I am saying.
Mr. Blair, we have to go to
allow me to say what I'm saying.
No make him talk and then no debunking man. Make him talk.
We support propaganda now.
Make him talk and we can't have evidence, so just make him talk and then no debunk.
The vote at the United Nations was for a ceasefire based on humanitarian needs. That was the vote at the United Nations. Right? Of which the Jamaican foreign minister abstained.
See me have to come in now, Mr. Blair. Hold on. See me have to... No, wait, hold on then, perfect him, J.A. We have to come in now. Mr. Blair, this is why you might get muted. Because that does not respond to the lie that you tried to purport previously. You're going to move into a new lie. And this we are trying to show, and that's why the conversation we're doing so hard. We were, no. You tried to purport that when they raised that flag, it was in support of a two-state majority. And when we debunk you, and you can't deal with that, you jump into now talking about what had happened, right? With vote and foreign minister. No, don't do that, because I'll have you to know that Jamaica, one of the first country that stood up and said two-state majority. It was long after over 120 had country joined Jamaica. The number started at 157 today. Don't do that. Don't do that. That's why I don't want to talk to you, because when the chat crap, me get angry. Harry, back to you, Harry.
You see how easy you fix the problem? You know why you get upset, Chavi, man? Just take your time, because when you know the thing, you know, you make a person talk and you just show them the facts and fix the problem. You know what you said, my boss? You do what you have to do.
I preface the argument by giving you the belief of the People's National Party. And then I told you
a
the
belief
reason.
and a statement are two different things. So going back to the Cuban, the People's National Party is responsible for what they say. How people interpret it is up to them. So you cannot come and want to add the things that is not within the statement. No, Blair, no. You're gonna make me
Statement that they raise the Palestinian flag.
No, listen to it. And about just raising flag. No, this is not about. Oh, no.
Are you going to allow me to
when the
speak?
rest of countries, no, let me finish up. When the rest of the countries walked out after Netanyahu was speaking, did you know that that is a stance as to what your position is? That is not a stance to say you want both Israel and Palestine to have that ceasefire. You walking out on Israel simply means you are against them. So don't come with this bullshit. So let's move back to the Cuban situation.
No, man, you can't leave that statement hanging.
Leave that statement hanging.
Hold on.
Tap out the screen, guys. I'm actually looking at the report from Cuban archive and the
we are having a discussion. I tell you that the policy of the People's National Party is for a
lie doesn't make it true.
A two-state solution.
Lie does not make it truth. The People's National Party does not have any principle on anything. They don't believe in nothing. So nobody can repeat it as often as they can.
Chuck,
listen.
Yes, sir. We are called Chuck, but Chuck can't protect you.
Listen.
One of your bed,
Mr. Blair. Mr. Blair. The fact is, one flag was raised at the PMP headquarters. One flag. They raised the Palestine flag. They didn't raise an Israeli flag. They didn't raise a white flag. They never raised one green flag. They raised one flag. So you cannot raise one flag and then say we may raise one flag, but I know that we mean. Okay? So you know, you Blair, you do not speak for the People's National Party. You are not a spokesperson for the People's National Party. You may be a member.
Chuck, hear me now. When you go to your WhatsApp, I sent you a picture of the article and I want you to read what it says. The same picture will show Angela Brownberg and Matthew Dabdoob standing in the PMP's headquarters. I mean, I work with you and the chatting, I bring you evidence.
All right, sir. Look, hold on, give me a second. It's coming up.
Yes, sir.
But that is it, you, Blair. You can't come now and tell us where we see. No, well, let me finish, Blair.
Stop arguing and read the article, please.
Hold on, Chabita. You can't come now and tell us where we see something different, because you are not. You don't sit at any of the PMP meetings. You are not a spokesperson for the PMP, right? So when we see they raise a flag, the Palestine flag at their headquarters, to us, we interpret that as they are in support of that and that alone. So you come and say that the PMP believe in that. You don't speak for the PMP, you Blair. You support them, but you don't speak for them. Just like how I support the Jamaica Labour Party, but I don't speak for them.
Well, the point I was making was that the People's National Party believe in a two-state solution.
Then why did you raise?
Chuck, please, may I beg you? Read the article. Please, just read the article.
The article soon comes.
The young man name is Jalil Dabdoob. No, not Matthew. Jalil Dabdoob. Yeah.
Travis, we don't need to be at pains. We don't need to be at pains to try to fasten in our comrade head. History have recorded that, and history will interpret it when it needs to be interpreted.
Me not
Okay,
force to put
a
in our
one
head, you know.
flag race.
I want the 200 and odd
One
people that
flag
is here
race.
to see that is caught in our life, plain
Just as
and
how
straight.
history is showing now that Michael Malley was a buffoon, history will show that the PMP only support Palestine and not the two-state solution.
I am not going to stay on no platform with nobody referring to Michael Manley as a buffoon.
Well, you can go.
Thank you, Chuck.
You can go. Have a good day.
No, do that, man. I'm not about this, man. Just relax, man. Do the thing, man.
You see, I wouldn't say on a platform nobody refer to Andrew
Hear
Wallace as a buffoon.
hear this. No. He has sat on platform when Andrew is called thief and dictator and wicked. You don't have the right to tell protecting how to speak. I'm sorry. You can't defend one and defend the other and then pretend to be a paragon of virtue. No. If you are defend, you have to defend both sides. No, Chuck, please, read the article. Thank you.
They make him go about him business, man. They disrespect the leader every time. And nobody not say nothing.
He will be listening. He will be listening.
Me listen to them one whole night. I disrespect Eddie Siaga. It don't matter to me because guess what? All he's going to do is dance around the facts. We have the facts in front of we. Up to 95% of the Cuban workers pay if you go to the government. We have the facts in front of we. So dancing around the issues. Come on.